Thank you. And now let's move on to the next topic. A little history was made here in the history of Alive After 5 this past Thursday, in that it was without question the largest crowd that we've ever had at Alive After 5, where we've always averaged the attendance. And these are all numbers based on what our security tells us. This is what we depend on, and they have certain formulas, I guess, that they use. And past events, usually 10,000 has been the maximum amount. This year, this last week, our security estimated they figured it was about 21,000 people that came through at Alive After 5, which is more than double what we've ever had there.
I was there.
Yeah, it was certainly the largest crowd. I can attest to, having been to most Alive After 5s in my time here. But certainly, it was very heartwarming, not only to see the crowd to be so happy and everything to run so well, that many people did come to our town, and that for the most part, certainly during the event, there wasn't any incident to speak of. And I want to use that opportunity. Certainly, I think a lot of that has to do with the tone that is set and the way the event is presented. And I want to give a tremendous amount of kudos to our chairperson, James Skidmore. He's the man who sets the tone, and I think he's provided a lot of elements that I think just make everybody happy from the beginning to the end, and I think that certainly adds to why we can get that kind of a crowd without being too many issues or problems. And I think a lot of it had to do with the weather. I mean, it was the weather was beautiful, and it was a week's worth of weather that was advertising how great it would be. And it came off the heels of the warmest weather, the hottest weather we had seen in a while. So, and plus the theme of being a celebration of women in the arts, I think just definitely added to it. Whether this is now a benchmark of what we can expect, or just an anomaly, I guess the remaining Alive After 5s will bring it forth. But I do want to also address, certainly, I know the village, and the chamber did as well, did receive some calls from neighbors about some of the activities after Alive After 5, particularly the crowds. From what I understand, every street, every parking place along streets was packed between Main Street and Roe Boulevard. And I understand that did cause some stress to some neighbors. Some of the people walking back to the cars, maybe there was still a party atmosphere as they're walking back. So I just want everybody to know the chamber's aware. We've already reached out to our building inspector, Peter Sarich, to set up a meeting to kind of just go over everything, what had happened after the last one, and make sure we approve upon what we're doing. But from the most part, I've heard only minor incidences, and we're going to certainly address them. And I encourage anybody, who gets the message to please contact the chamber if there were any issues, and we'll certainly work with the village to try to address those. And before I move on to anything else, and while we're on Alive After 5, I don't know if anybody in the village board wanted to, address anything from the last Alive After 5.
We should think about building a special exit off of Sunrise.
Called the Alive After 5 exit. Certainly our trolley has been a huge success. So there was actually long lines to get on the trolley. I don't think everybody made it for the one that they were waiting for. They had to wait for the next one to come back. But again, we couldn't be happy with at least the response we got back from the majority of people who attended of how well it went forward. So, and that we couldn't do it without the village. Code enforcement is exceptional. All the help that we get, Suffolk County Police are exceptional, and it's great cooperation to make it happen. So we look forward to August the 6th and to be as successful.
David, I do have one.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
One comment that came out of our staff meeting this morning is the dialysis center. Did the mayor speak to you about it?
Peter did mention that. Yes, I guess. There were some patients there that were a little disturbed by the noise that was coming through, so we will certainly address that. And we assume in the Blue Point stage and their new location might have been some of the cause of that. So we'll see what we can do to mitigate that for the remaining two events. But
apparently, the offices are right behind where the stage is, and the dialysis center is to the east or west of that.
I'll see if I put a call out to someone at the hospital as my main point of contact to see if we could just arrange a little meeting there to kind of see, and maybe there's some rearrangements that we could do to avoid that for the next one.
Great.
David, can we charge admission?
No.
I think that what adds to it is because it's a free event, but
and a great carnival.
maybe certainly if there was a number to say what is the limit that we can have for Main Street, we probably reached that number. I think we know that about 20,000 is about as many as you want to have on your Main Street without it becoming a little bit of issue, because there was an hour or so there that was pretty tight walking through. But luckily, everybody really kept their cool and was very courteous. And again, we just are amazed that even though this was the largest Alive After 5 by the crowd, we certainly know in past Alive After 5s have been issues, and the fact that we got that crowd without any issues to speak of is a credit to everybody involved.
And you brought in more people in one night than Jim Faith did in 4.
Exactly.